Hello there. Welcome back to the Sky Guys podcast. We're continuing our series revisiting season one of The Mandalorian. Mandalorian Grow coming out in theaters next year. This week, we're going back to chapter five, take a look at the Gunslinger. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Phillips. With me, as always, man is voicing your narration every single week. Pete Consadori is here. Pete, how are you?
Doing well. We're getting through the season. We're over halfway through, right? 8 episode season.
Yep.
So excited to see what you guys thought.
I'm glad you're able to escape that walker last week. We were worried for you.
Yeah, I think I was in the walker. I think that was the issue.
Also here with us today, our latest recruit to the guild, Nick Fraietta, is here. Nick, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Cannot wait to talk about what was my favorite episode of season one, chapter five.
The
At
Guns.
least at least in 2019. I don't know about on the rewatch.
Yeah, you loved it when it was airing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Also with us here today, we got a special guest with us here today. A few sports fans may know him covering the NBA for Clutch Points. He is been on Just on the Suffering podcast. We're talking NBA, but he's also a big Star Wars guy. Kris Pursianen is here. Chris, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I was telling you guys before we started recording, I'm excited to be on the show. Always love Star Wars. It's like the longest running interest of mine that I have a memory of, I guess. That was intentional, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So yeah, always love it. Always love it. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Thanks for coming on here. And Nick, I'll let you do the next question here.
Yeah, so as we do with all of our first time guests, which you are, you said Star Wars one of your first memories. So like let's get into your Star. There's no judgment here, but like what are the things you like in Star Wars, things you don't like, things that you love, things you can't stand? Because we all have things you don't like, and that's okay. So what got you into it? What do you like? What do you dislike?
Yeah, I was 3 and I first discovered, or like my mom like first left out like this box set of 4, 5, and 6, black and like shiny silver on the box, like just a 3 movie box set, very simple. Um, and I was always asking her like Star Wars, like what this looks sick, what is this? This is cool. I use different wording because I was 3, but um, you know, eventually I think I was either like just turning 4 or had turned 4 and she caved and let me watch episode 4. And then all the cliches like that it was all over from there, blah blah. Like I was super into it, watched 4, 5, and 6, loved all of them. By the time I was 5 years old, I was like out at Barnes and Noble with my parents and I saw a DVD for episode 1 on sale for like $10. Which when I was 5, that means it was 2007. So they were starting to hit the sale rack uh, a couple years after release, and I like begged for it, and they let me get it, and then I found out there was an episode 2, got episode 3, and then like I can remember like holding the box set and whatever as like a 3-year old, but as a 5-year old, I definitely remember watching episode 3 on like the 2 feet thick TV, like 2 feet deep. You know what I mean? Like TV we had in the living room, and my parents were like, I remember them like whispering before it started, like, "Oh, it's PG-13. This one's PG-13." Like I don't know if we might need to cover his eyes or whatever. And my dad, this is so random, but like it provides context. My dad would always cut my hair when I was little. So he was cutting my hair while I was watching this movie. And because he was like holding scissors and like, um, he wasn't really paying attention. So Anakin starts like burning alive. And that was the part apparently that my mom was like, "Oh, he's 5. We have to cover his eyes." Um, but I'm just like watching it, like just dialed in. And then my mom walks in from the other room and she's like, "Oh my God." Like she starts freaking out. She's like, "Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, how are you letting him watch this? Whatever." And I remember saying this to her. I didn't remember, like, apparently my parents said it was like the funniest, whatever. But apparently I said to her like in like a sarcastic tone. I just thought I was like being dead serious, but I was like, I remember saying like, "Mom, it's just a movie, relax, like it's all right." And they were like, "Oh, okay." Like he somehow whatever. He understands that this isn't something to like freak out about. Like he's enjoying it. I guess we were overblowing that problem. And then after that, it was just like, I had all six DVDs. I'd rewatch them a million times. Um, and then by the time I hit second and third grade, I had, those DVDs had marinated for a couple years at that point. And then that's when the Clone Wars series and the movie came out, and then the series started airing. So that is truly what like locked it in as more than a childhood interest. You know what I mean? Like Pixar, Cars had a great run in my household, but once I was like 6, it was over, you know? Star Wars got like reignited because of the Clone Wars series. I remember like showing up to third grade in my exactly where my classroom was, and there's this one kid in my class. We would always be like, "Did you see the new episode?" Like we talk about it every week. So yeah, I would say that's like the origin story. In short, I love the Clone Wars. I love Rebels. I like Bad Batch. Um, I love episodes 4, 5, and 6. I have episode 4 in my letterbox top 4. Because while everyone would say episode 5, I feel like episode 4 is what got it started. And I remember like watching it for like the second time with my cousins and them being like, "Do you know that Obi-Wan dies?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but if I didn't, why would you say it like that?" Like I remember all these moments from my childhood. Like it was just an integral part, you know? My friends would have like a new toy lightsaber and I'd be like, "I have to go over right now." I remember I think it was like a Bed Bath and Beyond, and they were selling like the spring action, like you could push down like the switch and the whole blade comes out. The lightsaber hilt itself was like this size, like they were like big, and it lit up and everything. Those were crazy. Once my cousins got a hold of them, it was like ripped in half, but you get the point. Like it just became everything to me. I started getting action figures of all different kinds, and I just loved it. It was like I felt like it was maybe it just had the advantage of being first, to be fair, but like I felt like it was like a fantasy world that like I understood and I could follow these characters' adventures in. So anything that's like fun, like the Solo movie, super fun. Um, my favorite thing now, honestly, especially once I got to be like 14 and found out that the original movies are like political as shit. Um, my favorite thing now might just be like those original movies. The fact that, now I feel like now the way to tell a story is to make it a superhero movie. Like that's how to get funding. Is like, oh, well, it's a superhero movie. Like, see, it's the market and whatever. Telling political stories through a space opera is crazy, and the fact that Disney greenlit season 2 of Andor is like truly shocking to me. I can't believe that like got through the executives. I cannot believe they approved that messaging. So that might be like one of my favorite things ever of Star Wars is also Andor's, but I know it's recency bias, but like episode 4, episode 3, Clone Wars, Rebels,
Well, you have
Andor,
the other question.
Yeah. What's
What do you not like?
not like
You have
the
to
rise
answer it.
the rise of Skywalker is maybe the single worst movie I've seen more than once in my life. So like there are some movies that are really bad that I've seen once and that I'll never see again. I really tried with The Rise of Skywalker, man. Terrible. Awful. It's so
You might
bad.
be, I don't know about Pete and Mike, you might be the only one who's seen that more than once. Mike and Pete, have you seen that movie more than once?
I did. I've seen it.
You had to.
I did it twice because I did once in the theaters and once for our movie rankings a few years ago.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
did
watch the movie
I
rankings.
I did I had a successful hate watch at home once it was on Disney Plus. Um nah, yeah, man, that movie is awful. I hate that fans like hate the political stuff or like um will just like I hate that you can't it feels like you can't correctly criticize, and I'm sure like you guys have the nuance down, but like in the public sphere, you can't like it feels like you can't criticize shows like Obi-Wan or The Acolyte because like you're just like rooting for them to succeed, but just like the worst people in the world have the worst things to say about them, and you almost just want them to be wrong. I hate like that. That's like every fan base or every anything part of humanity, but like yeah, I don't know. I hate that too.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll also add that on my rewatch of the Rise of Skywalker, I just had wisdom teeth removed. So I was like high on drugs at that point. So
Was
Might
it?
be,
Did it make it?
might be
Did it
the
make it
only
any
way.
Prob-
better?
it did
Probably
not make
still
it any better.
sucked.
It did not make it any
It didn't help.
Yeah.
Chewbacca died, and you're like, and then he comes back alive, and you're like, and yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, it's about right here. So, Pete, people want to subscribe to the Sky Guys. They can do so Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon, all usual suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys for your podcast platform and find us there. And we got a lot of Mandalorian stuff to come over the next few months. We're finishing season one. We're going to do season two in January. Make sure you subscribe. Be along for the ride.
Yep. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, definitely subscribe and yeah, new YouTube channel has been running since Andor season 2, so make sure you're checking that out as well.
Not even new anymore.
It's about 6 months old now.
Newer.
Yeah,
Newish. Yeah, and
it has its own passport at this point.
yeah, so Nick, people want to follow us on social media. How can I do that?
At Sky Guys Podcast all around.
All right. Also, go our social media comment of the week. This is from TikTok. Let's talk about a couple weeks ago. We talked about the Grief Karga situation. Pete suggested whether we should recast the character or not. This is comments from Craig the Geek on TikTok says, if they recast Dennis Haysbert or Keith David would be my top two. So, Kris, where do you fall on the recast debate with some of these Star Wars characters?
I want to say that it should just be like a fun challenge for directors or writers to tell the story without a character they've used before. But I also think that that's just like a sad reaction to the state of things. And I'm not one of those people that's like, "Oh, you idiots like Spider-Man No Way Home and it was just cameo slop." Like, no, I'm not that guy. But I also think that Star Wars particularly might be at a point where they should just challenge themselves to do no recasts. Like even rewatching Rogue One after Andor season 2, because if you didn't finish the last episode of Andor season 2 and immediately go start Rogue One again, I don't know you. But like basically I didn't think the Tarkin like I was like this and Leia like this is unnecessary. So I would say don't. But then I felt silly and dumb because when I thought about Bail Organa in Andor season 2, I was like, wait, they did really well with that. So I guess like most things in life, it's case by case, and I'll reserve judgment basically until we see what they do. Like I think recasting is better than deep fake remakes. So maybe then screw my idea of forcing them to be creative because the evil of cameo slop is less evil than like burning Tennessee alive. I don't know. I don't
I mean,
know.
yeah, it depends on the character if they're needed in the show or not. Like, I think they can survive doing Mandalorian without Grief Karga, but could they have survived Rogue One without Tarkin? No. No, the deepfake versus recast is a different argument, but the character needed to be there is the point.
Yeah, no, 100%. I
Yeah.
was more thinking after watching Andor season 2 and seeing Organa, then going into Rogue One, I was like, oh, they could have, in
Right. Yeah, I see your
retrospect,
point.
in
Yeah.
hindsight, at the time, I probably would have been like, really, like you couldn't just figure something else out. I don't know, but I'm almost glad they did it because I feel like they might have tapped the Partagas actor for that role and then needed someone else for Andor. So Butterfly Effect. We never get my one of the best Star Wars scenes ever, which is I feel like this got over tweeted, but like the nod, or like the hand motion to the stormtroopers after Partagaz kills himself, and that
Mhm.
like so that's like one of the best scenes in Star Wars ever to me. So I maybe Butterfly Effect, where I'm glad that they did it that way.
Absolutely. Let's get to our Star Wars news here. Nick, a big one
Yes.
last week, right after we talked about Gina Carano's debut in Mandalorian.
Yep, we have well, I'm not going to name the number. Never mind. Just gonna dive into it. So, first piece of news here is Gina Carano and Disney have settled their legal dispute about Carano's firing from the company after season 2 of The Mandalorian a few years back. In a statement released by Disney and Lucasfilm, the company said, "We look forward to identifying opportunities to working with Miss Carano in the near future."
Yeah, so
So that whole debacle seems to be behind us.
yeah, so Pete, to be clarified to the audience, you will not see her in Mandalorian Grogu. That movie is done, but they have not closed the door on bringing Gina Carano back in the future if they want.
Yeah, I mean, like we always say with Disney, believe it when I see it. So we'll take it as it comes.
Yeah, and basically Gina Carano got paid. That's the takeaway here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know like how South Park uses celebrities for cameos. Like they have them be like reindeer number two, and they just like grunt twice, and they'll be like, "Those grunts were George Clooney." Like did Disney will do something like that to her. Like they're gonna like I don't know. This is super sports crossover, but like ESPN acquires the rights to Inside the NBA. Everyone's like, "Oh, Chuck, Shaq, and Kenny are gonna be back," and then it comes out that the next time ESPN is going to have them do anything after opening day in October is Christmas. And it's like, I was joking like, oh, they were telling Shaq he'll get to tend the rabbits too. Like this is just insane. Like that they acquired them to shelve them. And I feel like maybe that's what Disney did here is paid their way out of annoyance more so than anything else.
That we will certainly see. Next on the list here is Matt Smith, who we found out a couple weeks ago is going to play the villain in Star Wars Starfighter. That's that Ryan Gosling movie. He weighed in on a rumor that he was set to play a young Palpatine in an earlier version of Rise of Skywalker, which we assume is that other one. Colin, what's the last name, Mike?
The Trevor script.
Yeah, that's that original director of that movie who was then replaced. But anyway, he said it was a
The
really
Jurassic guy.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
said it was a really groovy part and concept. It was a big thing, a big story detail, a transformative Star Wars story detail, but it never quite got over the line. It was a big shift in the history of the franchise. I think he's kind of gone a little crazy with that. It sounds like a little much to me.
Sounds like he's just an actor saying like, I would have loved this thing so much. It would have been so great when it's probably like,
Yeah, I mean, look, he looks the part, but we never got to see it. Let's move on quick though, for the sake of time. The next one here is John Boyega, excuse me. The actor who played Finn spoke at a panel at Fan Expo in Boston over the weekend, and he said that he thought Finn's storyline in the sequels was originally going to lead to him becoming a Jedi alongside of Rey. Me too, John. I thought that too. He also said that the potential for the characters to end up in a conflict with each other, like Obi-Wan and Vader in the original trilogy.
that
Would
would
have been very cool to see. Unfortunately, we never got that route. We got Finn being a defective stormtrooper who then went and killed stormtroopers. That's what we got instead.
yeah, we got a random casino planet side quest. We learned the morale, like the immorality of rich and poor people. Like that's what we did with Finn.
I don't want to get into it because we can go
They fly
on
now
for
though.
45 minutes. Yeah. We can go for 45 minutes, but I still can't believe, forget the whole plot, what it was about on the casino planet, but it started because they parked where they weren't supposed to. That still drives me crazy. They could have just parked somewhere else and it would have been fine.
Is this like sneaky like NYPD propaganda? Like is this why I'm getting tickets when I get out of work, Like is this what we're doing now? I mean, also just the concept of like they meet they meet the gambler, like they see the guy and then that's it. Like that's the last of
Parking.
them.
Okay.
All right, let's on to the last piece of news. I'm going to hand it over to the panel here because I'm not the Lego guy, but I will read it. And as we have the images leaks showing the first look at Lego's UCS series, which you're going to have to tell me what that even means, of the Death Star has 9,023 pieces, set to release on October 1st, and has a price point of $9.99. First, what is UCS? Second, go ahead and discuss this.
Ultimate Collector Series.
Okay, have fun. I'm going on
is
mute.
is the premium, basically the premium version of a Star Wars set, as Pete and I have discussed before. Like, this is the collector's version of like a Star Wars set, and he has a big issue with this price point.
Yeah, it's fucked. That's the only way I could say it. Bleep me out. I really don't care.
Oh, it's staying in.
This is to me very underwhelming for the price point. I do realize everything is going up in price, and I do realize with tariffs and everything like that, things are not going to be the same price. I'm not going to sit here and say that, but for a 9,000 piece set that is just a cross section of the Death Star, more sides of the box have been leaked. There is not a half of Death Star behind it. There is not like this is not just a cross section of the Death Star where it's the full one. You can open it up. It's literally just what you're looking at on the screen. Don't get me wrong, it's a very pretty set when it comes to being a display piece. I would not mind paying $450 to $500 for that, but it is not worth $1,000. The Millennium Falcons, I think, at 8 something before tax. The Venator is at like 700 before tax, I think, and yeah, so Kris is putting it up on his screen here. It's pretty underwhelming, and this is going to be the AT-AT over again. That was an $800 set, was not worth $800. It lasted maybe 3 years, and it came off the shelves. I see this maybe lasting 2 max.
Yeah, Kris, as a Lego guy, what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say, first of all, let me I don't even know if you guys can see up there. Maybe I have to ditch this light, but I've got like a Clone Wars gunship. I've got that's a TIE interceptor. Um
You got these guys props.
up here is General Grievous's ship. Uh Here, this one, Poe Dameron's X-Wing. And then right here underneath, that's like honestly, I'm a bad guy. I forget what it's called, but it's the ship that's at the start of episode 1 that's silver, except I have it in red.
Yeah.
And I also have like a Clone Wars tank with like the giant wheels that
Yeah.
it would open. Now, a lot of these sets are like from years ago, because back then you could pay like $110 for a gigantic set and it would take you like days to build and be fun. And now you pay $70 for Galactus and the Fantastic Four, and there's no buildings or anything. It's $70 and it's Galactus and the Fantastic Four, like minifigures, and then Galactus is obviously huge, but again, we are so far gone when it comes to Lego pricing. Like you get like a couple of like the roses or whatever, like Lego roses. It's like the stems are just green cylinders, and those are like $80, $60. Like it's bad. It's one of those things where it's like, you see, I'll do another sports analogy because that's how my brain works. Like you see how the Golden State Warriors went from Oracle Arena in Oakland to Chase Center in San Francisco. And you can see in the crowd that the fan base is a different group of people now. Like the fans of the team that were there every day when the team sucked can no longer afford to see the team now that it's good. That sucks. And people are like, "Oh, that's just how things work." It's like, why? That's why does that have to be just how things work? Um, I'm not buying the Death Star. I will laugh at anyone that does. I think it's cool. I think it's cool. If they said that that slice of the Death Star was $400 and you got the Obi-Wan Vader fight, you had the trash compactor scene, which they have. They have all these scenes. Like it's sick. The little individual rooms in that set are really cool. But it's a $400 set, and I say that not because I think it's worth $400, but because I think $400 is a reasonably enough of an outrageous price that people would still buy it and be like, yeah, okay, 399.99, like that sucks, but I'll ask for it for Christmas, or kids to be able to what kid can even ask for this? Like what world are they living in?
Not not our world.
This is unreal. They're in a galaxy far, far away, man. I'm looking at some of these sets thinking about like, now they have the Lego sets that are like cityscapes and different famous buildings and stuff, and it's like $90 for like 4 mini. It's bad. Listen, people still buy them, people still build them, people still have fun. but who and I guess it's clear they don't care, but I wish there was some way to like tell Lego executives like here's how many hours of fun kids under 8 were robbed of this year because they couldn't afford a car. They could afford like a minifigure. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's nasty.
yeah, I'm good with this. I got my little Lego Grogu here, so that's good enough.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for the news, Nick, right?
That is it for the news. It's time to talk about the Gunslinger.
Chapter 5, the Gunslinger, the second sort of side questy adventure here. Pete, what'd you think about this episode of the Gunslinger?
Not engaging at all, in my opinion. I think there was some good action, but this whole episode was just to introduce Fennec Shand, and that was it. There was zero content in there except for that, in my opinion. So I'm pretty down on this episode, coming from an objective viewership point of view, not the excited Mando is the first Star Wars show coming out all those years ago viewer.
Yeah, I will say from my point of view, Nick, is like I had fun with it. There were things I enjoyed, but at the same time, I was like, this is the first one on the rewatch. I'm kind of looking at my watch. I'm like, how much time's left this episode? We still haven't done this stuff yet.
Now I'm with you. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this was my favorite in 2019, and I think that's purely based on the fact that they were in Tatooine,
Yeah.
or I should say on Tatooine. And I think that is definitely the case. Like I'm looking around in the cantina, I'm looking at the dock bay. I'm like, oh, look how cool it is! It's after the Empire and it's Tatooine. This is awesome because we didn't get that in the sequel trilogy. We didn't get any of those planets, except I could technically we got Mustafar, but again, that movie doesn't count. And that's what made the episode good and enjoyable for me back then. And looking at it now, it's just kind of as Pete said, this is your Fennec Shand backstory, not really her backstory, but you know what I mean, her intro,
Yep.
and nothing really else. There's nothing really wrong with the episode. It's kind of slow and boring.
Yeah. Chris, any thoughts on the episode generally before we get deeper?
Yeah, I think you guys are sleeping on the other introduction they made technically with Amy Sedaris's character. Isn't this the first appearance of Peli Motto there? I don't know. When I think back on all 3 seasons of Mandalorian and I think back on Boba Fett too, because doesn't she make one cameo in Boba Fett? That I think I remember in that one in episode was it episode 5 or where the Mandalorian shows up, but they have like they use an episode of Boba Fett to be like, "Hey, this is the Mandalorian, and I think TSA is too slow." That was like the takeaway. That was cool, I guess. But uh, Pelimoto is a quirky enough Star Wars character for me to be like, I thought this was a cool introduction. They do kind of just act like you should know her, almost making you think like, did I forget when she was introduced? She just kind of naturally fits into things. Um, so yeah, that maybe spoils some of one of my takes for later. But I other than that, man, I guess
It happened.
it, a show happened, an episode happened.
Yeah.
There were actors, they were in it.
Yeah. And Nick, do you want to talk about your favorite character, Pelimato?
No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. For the uninitiated, Nick cannot stand Pelimato. Might be his least favorite character in Star Wars.
You think it's just like a soulless plot mover that doesn't?
I just don't enjoy her quirkiness. I admit that, you hit the nail on the head. She's a very quirky, fun character. I just think they take it too far with her. But
I get it.
we have an
It's the
interesting
secretary
coming
from
later.
Elf, though. That's the secretary from Elf, isn't that
We have
so?
an interesting twist coming later. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. So, Nick, what do you want to talk about in this episode?
I want to talk about how they portray Fennec throughout the episode, until the end, of course, but they portray her as some sort of like bounty hunter that's quote unquote better than Mando. That's how I view it, at least. They view of her almost as like I don't want to say a legend, but like oh, that's Fennec Shand. Oh, everyone's aware who it is. And I think that's really cool. It's a good way to introduce her, and she's a great character. So I'm glad they did it that way, and I think it really stuck. Because here we are 6 years later, and I still feel that way about Fennec, as in like she's a badass. I wouldn't get in her way, and I think if they didn't introduce her this way initially, we wouldn't feel that way today.
Yeah, P, I think I agree. Like they build the legend of Fennec up like when you first like hear about her, and then like you see the trap she lays in the desert for Mando and Toro Calican, and like it takes them basically with this harebrained plot at night to like overpower her, and then she's able to basically manipulate like Toro almost to let her go. Like very strong stuff for the character.
Yeah, it's just I think it does the character a disservice that within a back half of an episode they attack her and capture her and shoot her. I think you take this whole
Immediately.
yeah, this whole like
Immediately dead.
legends, yeah, this legendary even Mando doesn't want to deal with her stuff and like you meet her, you throw a flashbang at her and some guy who's not even in the
This
guild is able
asshole
to
just yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I think it just does it a disservice where, yeah, you build up this legend, then it's just like immediately like, nope, we're done. And it's funny because I start to see that pacing in Mando. This is the pacing we get for like most shows afterwards.
Yeah.
It's kind of actually funny how like we were okay with it because of the new show, and then once it starts happening in other shows like Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan or whatever Acolyte, we're like, what the hell just happened? That was so quick. Why is that an episode? So yeah.
Yeah, Chris, any thoughts on the first time we see Fennec?
Uh it you can't you cannot spend the time that they spent building her up for her to just immediately die. That was insane. I don't understand either. Like, is the moral of the story supposed to be like shit happens or like you know what I mean? Like, what's the takeaway? I can't say that it wasn't cool when Fennec returned and she's like part robot now and this and that. But did she need to be shot dead 4 minutes after a 24-minute buildup to her introduction? Like, I just think it was, they were like, ooh, we're gonna shake things up, and this is gonna be like a space rodeo, and the unexpected should be expected. And it's like, well, actually, this is a this is like a what 6 episode season show,
Yeah.
and you've guaranteed like 2 episodes per season are going to be essentially filler. Like, okay, thanks. But like, then this is why whenever anything comes out about this movie with Gosling and everything else, people are just like, who cares? Because you just watched it with Marvel. They put out a good movie with Thunderbolts, and they put out a solid movie with Fantastic Four. And like the second week numbers just weren't that great for Fantastic Four because they're paying the price now for Quantumania, and they're paying the price now for these other movies they made that they truly just half-assed. So the brand has to be strong for this to work. And like I think Pete made a great point. Like we were excited because this was like the return of Star Wars, and it's a new angle to a story we kind of know. And then you've just found out all this stuff for her to die literally instantly. It was a little like maybe how Nick feels about Amy Sedaris, like just quirky for the sake of it and not actually like purposeful or tasteful or plot furthering, or just it happened to happen.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a note here. I want to talk about Toro Calican a little bit, who is played by Jake Cannavale, the son of Bobby Cannavale, and like this is his episode. Basically, he's like there, like teaming up with Mando here. Like I have to say, great acting, Jake Cannavale, but the character Nick is such a little shit that like you just like are so happy when Mando shoots him dead at the end of the episode.
I think that they did a great job at writing the character. That's exactly what they were going for, right? Someone that we could all collectively want to punch in the face.
Yeah,
And essentially, at the end, you kind of see that, or not really, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
And I think it's meant for that. It's someone to root against, and they did a great job with it. A bit, great job on the performance and the acting, because I wanted to punch him, and I'm sure you did too. And yeah, but in terms of just the character being punchable, completely agreed.
yeah. P, is this the first Star Wars Nepo baby, Toro Calican?
I don't know, is it?
He feels like one because he's like he doesn't even care about the money when he's doing the job. He's like, I just want to be in the guild. Like, you can have the money. I don't need the money.
You know, I kind of take his character as someone trying to make a name for himself in a post-Empire world. So he was annoying, but if Mando did the same exact storyline, I don't think anyone would be complaining. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I understand why the character was written that way. Yeah, he's made to be annoying, but like Mando does the same exact thing. No one's complaining, you know?
Yeah, Chris. Any big thoughts on Toro?
Fun heel.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely echo Nick's sentiment that like they did a good job. Like the annoyance is the result of a job well done. Um, I would also say that I liked that he made the decision to just shoot Fennec. Like, I thought that was well written for his character. I think it's also indicative of a lot that they were willing to sacrifice her to advance the to advance the character development of a guy who they then killed off. I don't know. What do you guys think? 3 minutes and 27 seconds later? Like I just, I like, why did you build we laughed at them for building Fennec up as this legend and then immediately making us watch her get murdered. But we didn't even talk about how they did it to advance the development of a guy who gets murdered 3 minutes later. And then it's like, oh, well, that's over. Bye bye. I it, it's a little bit of a hindsight's 2020, a little bit of a hate watch. Like there's something to not knowing what's happening next and experiencing the episode for the first time and being like, wow, Mando has met his match, not in a skill way, but this guy is almost just so like fortune favors the bold. Like he's such a gunslinger. It's perfect. And then he's fucking dead. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, guess not. So I just think I think it was cheap. I think Fennec's death, his death, all of it. Like, yeah, sure, have him do all these things and then, get fly too close to the sun. Like he had like a very Icarus storyline to me, you know? But Icarus doesn't like take out the Loch Ness monster in the middle of his flight. I think they were trying to show that he killed Fennec more by luck, like more by he does things that are so unexpected that she didn't even see it coming. So maybe that's like saving grace for her legend. But like, what do you mean she didn't see that come? Like she's standing right there. It doesn't connect when you try to make it make sense. And maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe it's just supposed to be fun. And I'm a big loser. But that's what I can't help but think.
Yeah, I think Chris brings up a good point because this feels like the goofiest episode of Mandalorian we've had thus far. Whether it was the fight at the beginning where like we had the bounty hunter use Mando's line and he follows, kills him and goes, "That's my line." Whereas the Pelimato
This
stuff.
this was Space Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like this is Space Cowboys. This whole episode.
Yeah. There's just like it's very goofy compared to what we've been getting in Mandalorian thus far, the first four episodes. Like it felt like as you get Pelimato doing side shows, we're gonna feed the baby, like we're gonna, like do all these wild things in the cantina. Like it's just like felt like a one off. Like you see Mando do a lot of dumb things this episode too.
Yeah. This is the droid arc of Mando,
Yeah.
right? The droid arcs of Clone Wars. This is it. This is we need to fill an episode. What the hell are we doing with it? And this was it.
Yeah, Tatooine. It's like we'll just do something fun there.
Yep.
I mean, listen, I guess maybe we should be praising it more because it was them feeling like this didn't work that made them just go cameo heavy for those episodes in season three. Like, I have nothing against Jack Black and Lizzo appearing in Star Wars, but I wish they had South Parked them. Like
Yeah.
I wish they had Fantastic Four them, where like they put the cast from the 90s in like the montage at the very start and then that's it. You know, they were like an integral part of that episode, which makes you realize that it's all about nothing because their characters are social media posts.
Yeah.
They were created with the intention that they will be destroyed in less than 24 hours. It's gonzo media. It is leaning into meaninglessness and it kind of just sucks. Like I'm talking to you guys about how I got super into Star Wars because of cool space fights and also like Anakin's emotional arc and Obi-Wan's sage guidance and like that's the stuff that got me into it too. And Vader being this big bad villain, um, that all got me into Star Wars. And now it's kind of like the essence of Star Wars, like the theory, like the concept of it. And it's like, well, this is close enough, right, guys? Like this is kind of what it's supposed to feel like. Look, there's action. Look, they're on speeder bikes and they have guns and everyone except for three characters in this episode is useless for the entire rest of the series.
Yeah.
Except for the person who comes back to life after dying.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's goofy and too much. Too goofy.
Yeah. Let's go rapid fire a couple of things here. Pete, did you catch your favorite character, the Frog Lady, in the cantina?
I did, and it pissed me off. Another thing that pissed me off about this show, but we'll talk about that later when it comes up.
Yeah, it's currently laid that seed in season 1, Pete, and they went right back to it in season 2.
I didn't remember that honestly. I didn't spot her.
Yeah, she's right in the canteen at the beginning when you first walk in. They give you a clear shot of her before they cut the man to walk in the droids.
That's great. I like that because I know her and Pete get along.
Yep. Nick.
Chris, for your backstory, when Mike was doing this originally on Just End the Suffering, doing the season 2 episodes, season 2 was banger after banger, week after week, which was great episodes. And Pete was left with the one episode with the Frog Lady. So Pete and the Frog Lady do not see eye to eye.
That's pretty good. That's how things work out. That's how things tend to go. That would be my luck too, man. Don't worry.
A couple other notes here. Nick, we get the Boba Fett tease here, where we get to see Boba Fett's boots. And
Yeah, so I remember when this happened initially, we were all like pretty sure it was him. We weren't positive, and it was going around on the internet. It's like, is it him? Was it him? Or was it someone else? I think it was Boba Fett. We didn't know, and that was really cool at the time that we didn't know who it was. And I think at the end of the season we found out, right? Because we saw the post-credit scene.
Yes.
And
actually, I think it was season 1, season 2, maybe episode 1.
Season 2, episode 1.
I think it's like at the end of that episode we get the shot.
You might be right. Yeah, but yeah, I remember not being sure, but like being kind of sure. Like we all were like we were all like confident that it was him, but we didn't have confirmation. And I'll stick by this that Boba Fett in his own show was, I don't know who that was, but Boba Fett in Mandalorian is awesome.
Yeah. I think he's fun there. Definitely good to get that tease in here. And Chris, defend Mando here. I know Nick's not the biggest Mando fan. Tell me why you think she's a fun character to have in the Star Wars universe.
She reminds me of like a video game character, someone who like is kind of just there for the purpose of they don't want to just put pop-ups on your screen that say now go to this place. So it'll be like her that pops up on the screen and it's like, okay, now for the next step in your journey, you know? I just think there's like if Star Wars is supposed to be representative of things that happen in real life, then there have to be people that kind of just serve their purpose and that's it. There have to be people who we don't like or who people find boring or annoying. Like that's all part of it. I like when things are realistic like that. Like, of course, there's a like southern, like totally not from space Alabama mechanic woman that like is like motherly with Grogu and just like sees him as like a
Meal
little
ticket.
dude.
Yeah, and a meal ticket because remember she's trying to charge Mando more money.
Absolutely. So I kind of liked that her generosity was born from greed, and then eventually, she ends up caring for Grogu legitimately or to, to some extent, taking care of him at times. So yeah, I just think it's a fun character. I don't think you should look too deep into Peli Motto. You know what I mean? Like she's in what, like 3 episodes in this season, but she's in both of the final ones. So I guess I get it. But like, isn't Pelly who then later guides Mando
I think,
just later in the season? It's like Cobb Vanth is there then, and
well,
it's like Boba's armor, but it's not Boba. And then I know later the next encounter is well, it involves Trask
yeah, there's
and a
lot,
certain woman
lot of stuff
with
going on here. Nick just doesn't jive with her sense of humor.
certain woman of frog that is involved in that next episode. But I but yeah, no, I just think it's fun. I just think it's fun. It's light, it's funny. It's the secretary from Elf. Like it's just fun for me. I try not to keep it too deep. Like when they're like, oh, she dated a what was it? A
Yeah,
Jawa,
yep,
and she called them furry,
yeah.
and it was like I guess, right? Like people are gonna have weird taste in Star Wars too. Like it's I don't know. To me it's like a
I think that was where she lost Nick was when she started talking about dating Jawas and how far
neutral. It's like
I'm
a
sure
to
he
me it's like
lost
a
Nick
neutral
Dallas.
evil, like not even like chaotic evil, just like a neutral necessary evil, like fun character that keeps the gears turning even if it pisses you off. I don't know. I think she's representative of like the vibe of the whole show. Like she helps put me in the show, if that makes any sense. She helps my immersion.
Yeah, for sure. And Pete, last thing I want to mention here, put a pin in this one for later on here is that we have to see here that Mando has built a relationship with Sand People, where he's able to communicate to Tusken Raiders and basically trades them Toro's binoculars to get through their land.
I thought he was telling them to steal third base. I got to be honest with you. There's a lot of hand signals going around, and I thought, he was telling them to bunt or swing away. So, yeah, it was cool. It's a cool little thing that we haven't seen before in Star Wars when it comes to the Tusken Raiders. Tusken Raiders are very almost like not to be dealt with kind of thing. They're very serious and violent people. So to see this was a cool dynamic.
Yeah, and Nick, maybe we should hire Mando for the hitman to be one of our base coaches. He'd have good signals down.
Yeah, we get Pedro Pascal to come up to Westchester and play softball with us.
Maybe I'd sell for Brendan Wayne. Pedro's a little busy.
Whatever, whoever we get.
All right, so now I think that's a good place to wrap the episode here. Not a ton really.
Agreed.
Let's get to our MVP LVP board. This is the best and worst characters of Mandalorian season one is rated by us every week here. So, season so far, Mando and Keel tie the top +3. The Cover as a whole is +2. Paz Vizsla, Grogu, Cara Dune, and Omera +1. Pete, you want to explain why Omera got the MVP point last week?
Yeah, because she was like the only one to be like, we're staying and fighting. We're not running.
Yeah.
That was kind of why I gave it to her.
Yeah, and Pete gave his LVP last week to Mando, sort of joining Nick in terms of the weird decisions he's made. So the LVPs overall, Grief Karga, the Mythrol from the pilot, IG-11, the Walker pilot from last week, and -1s, all of them. -2s, Dr. Pershing and the Guild, and the Jawas from episode 2 are a -4, bring up the rear.
The difference in points is so stark.
All
It's
right.
like -1, -2, -4. The Jawas. Like, aren't we 5 episodes in? Like, how did they get?
They got a clean sweep that week.
Clean sweep in what, episode 2 is it, or 3?
2.
Two. Yeah.
Yeah, we criticize the negotiation skills and like in fact they got on Mandos. That's why they got LVPs. So
The Jawas have no ability to barter. That's you guys are great. That's so funny. That's such like random. I love it.
all right, so Nick, start us out here. Who's the MVP of the week?
All right, you ready for the plot twist of the week?
Elimano?
Peli Motto.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
She's a motherly figure. She protects Grogu. Mando does it again, where he just leaves his child and just runs away without thinking at all. This kid is the equivalent of what? A year and a half years old, maybe, and human. And
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave him.
Yes, Lito.
So Peli steps up and makes sure that the kid, is alive.
He
So,
got food.
point there.
Yeah.
Yeah, point to Peli for that.
Chris, who's your MVP of the week?
I was genuinely gonna choose Pelimato before coming on here, so I would be remiss if I didn't double up now and follow through with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna give one to Mando. Yes, he is dumb for leaving his kid on a ship unattended, but he does like help get Fennec capture. He does get the jump on Toro when he gets back in the hangar there, and he does pay for his services. He makes sure that he did not leave he's not like dash and dine basically. So Pete, who's your MVP of the week?
Pelimano, 100%.
Great week, great week for Motto.
It's funny. 2019 me did not notice any of the things that Mando did that made him a bad father, but I think in real life, becoming a father has made me realize everything. Like, wait, you didn't do this. Wait, you didn't do that. Are you kidding me? You left him alone? Like stuff like that.
Honey, I'm gonna go into
Noticing
ShopRite,
everything.
get a couple things, lottery ticket or two. Do not worry. No one will be able to get in the car to get our kid. The
Yeah.
windows are up, the doors are sealed. There's no one's getting in or out of that car. Yeah, that's Mando. That is Mando as a dad.
Yep. All right. So I'll go LVPs here. Chris, who is the worst character of the week?
Dude, I don't I want to give it to like the writers. I wish I could just give it to the
You
writers.
can.
You give it to the writers.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm go whoever yeah, not the director. Like the shots were beautiful. Mando and the gunslinger, the
Who's the
titular
director?
gunslinger
Filoni?
If
walking, yeah,
Accept.
walking in the desert, the two of them and like the shots where it's just the two like really good. But I want to give Fennec Shand the LVP, but she doesn't deserve that. It's what happened to her.
Yeah.
So if even if this is cheating, I have to go with the writers. Filoni,
Well, Filoni actually wrote the episode also.
So okay,
never mind. Never
Would you
mind.
rather give it to Filoni or the writers?
Filoni.
All right, so we'll put Dave on the board, courtesy of Chris. So,
Put Dave on the goddamn board.
all right.
That guy maybe needs to after some of the stuff that's come out about like what Kathleen Kennedy fights for or doesn't behind the scenes, assuming it's true, Filoni might be Bosk. Like he might be like a bad I might be out. I might be a Dave out FC. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm going to Toro of my LVP because like he had passed into the guild. He got greedy and it cost him his life. So he gets the LVP. Pete,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give it to Mando. I just think it's just bad. This go around. He's just bad.
Ed beat Dad.
Just bad.
All right, Nick.
I'm with you, Mike. I'm gonna go with Toro as well. If you're a character that I want to punch in the face at the whole episode and then you die, also, you had a bad episode.
You did. So last but not least, we're gonna grade the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is worse than 1978 holiday special. 10 is up with the gourmet arc of Andor, the pinnacle of Star Wars content. Chris is the first time guest. I'll let you know.
I always do the honors for the first time guest. So you know, a 5 is average. It's not bad. It's in the
I
middle.
love this. 5 mediocre. Yes,
Yeah.
I was just talking to someone in the movie industry about this the other day. They were like, 7 is like pretty good. 8 is like I really enjoyed it. 9 is like wow, that
Right.
was great. I'm like, so everything's a 7 or an 8? Like what the hell is wrong with you? Um I'm gonna go
Uh,
do we
I'll go first. I'll save you for last on this one. So
Oh, okay.
this is a 4. This is a below average episode for me. Like this is the first one where I'm sitting here like, how much longer I gotta watch this? This is crazy, so on and so forth. Like, not a lot of stupid like plot decisions by characters. So that's a 4 from me, Pete.
It's a 3 for me. If this is not a Mandalorian episode, we'd be ripping this thing apart just from the pacing of it, the storyline of it, and also too, up until this point, we're at episode 5. We've had maybe 45 minutes of content that drives the story of season 1. Everything else has been filler. This entire episode had nothing to do with the story. If this didn't exist, it would not have detracted from the show. 3 all day.
Nick.
I'm gonna go 5. I think it's right in the middle. I feel as if this episode, I agree with what you said, Pete. It is a filler episode. It is slow. It is not necessary, but I also feel at the same time it didn't do anything wrong. I think all of the shots were really good. The acting was really good. All the effects were really good. So like I can't say it was a bad bad episode in that sense, but I do agree in terms of the show, it doesn't really do much. So I'm gonna go right in the middle, 5.
All right, Kris, where are you going?
I'll be short and bitter here. Listen, if this episode one made sense or two furthered the plot of season one, I would be fine giving it a 4 or 5. I'm not, because it doesn't. I'm Team Pete. It's a 3. 3 is more than 1 or 2. Like it can be worse. It gets worse. But 4 to me is like that episode of Book of Boba Fett with Mandalorian, where half the episode is him being like, "Oh, TSA sucks." Like, thanks, guys. Novel stuff. That's like a 4, or like I don't know. That this is a 3 out of 10 to me, and that's not. That's to say it can get worse.
Absolutely. It certainly can get worse. P, I know you got to run. Let more people let you go. Let everybody know how to follow you on social media.
At Consy29 on Twitter, CONSY29, AP Tower 308. Posted that background on Reddit, so make sure you check them out.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Pete. We'll let you run. Kris, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here. Let people know, like, who may not be familiar from the Star Wars side, how can I keep up with like your social media, some of your NBA content? How can I do that?
Yeah, for sure. Kris Pursianen, Kris with a K. Last name P as in Peter, URS, and then a lot of vowels from there. I'm
It's
sure
on the screen.
it'll autofill at that point. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
I cover the NBA mostly. I'll be talking NFL all NFL season long, especially on sports radio. You can catch me on the Infinity Sports Network. I produce for them. Um, and if I'm on weekends or overnights or filling in on a weekday show, then I'll be behind the sticks taking your calls. Other than that, I write for Clutch Points, mostly again about the NBA. Just had an article come out, exclusive interview with Trey Mann. That was a lot of fun. So maybe go check that one out. Trey Mann, uh, snazzy dude.
Yeah, we'll link to that stuff in the show notes if you want to check that stuff out here. Nick, one more time. If you want to follow us on social media, how can I do that?
At Sky Guys Podcast, all over the social medias, any of your choosing, they're all there.
Yeah, because of follow me on social media, M Phillips 331. It's MPHILIPS 331. This is over on the Just on the Suffering podcast. We're getting ready for your fantasy football draft. So, Nick, you know where you're picking yet in your draft?
No, and I'm furious about it. We can talk about it after the show. I'm so mad at my league.
Kris, you have a fantasy pick yet?
My leagues that I do, we all agree that the way to do it is randomized order 30 minutes before the draft starts.
Yeah, so you let Yahoo do it for you, or ESPN, whichever app you use.
Oh my
Yeah, we let them determine the order because the reason we let them do it instead of having some fun game is so that the assholes in our league can't spend like 4 weeks being like preparing for their 20 top scenarios at the 1.8. Like it's we like adding some spice to it. And that's like every league I'm in unanimously agrees. I also push for it in every league, so I think I'm part of the problem, but yeah, so no, I have no idea.
League, how we do it, the home league that I run is a very unique scenario here. Like everybody gets assigned a random week 3 preseason game, and it goes whoever scores the most points gets the top pick. It descends from there.
Cool. That's cool. That's fun. I like that.
That way, like they cannot be accused of being rigged.
Funny.
I like all the little fun things like that. That's good. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so let's talk fantasy over there this week if you want to get ready for your drafts, and we'll have some fun stuff going on there. We'll be back next week.
I was at Jets Giants joint practice today. I'm a Giants guy, but Brees and Braylon looked really damn good.
Jets like to run, so keep that in mind for your fantasy drafts. We'll be back
Yes,
next week
sir.
to cover Chapter 6 of The Mandalorian. We'll get to visit with one of our favorite guests coming on here to talk about the horror movie episode of Mandalorian. But until then, may the Force be with you.